Imagine you're trying to win every game in Fortnite, but your opponents always know your exact drop spot. Annoying, right? Now, scale that up to conquering empires. That's basically what Genghis Khan faced. He wanted to expand the Mongol Empire, but needed intel on cities, armies, and rivals without losing half his men in the process. The solution? Spies. Not just any spies, an entire network that fed him info faster than anyone else could react. Today, we're diving into Genghis Khan's spy network, how it worked, and why it made the Mongols almost impossible to beat. By the end, you'll understand how info became the deadliest weapon in history. Why spies matter. Spies are like cheat codes. They tell you where the enemy is weak, what traps they've set, and even when they're sleeping. For Genghis Khan, knowing the enemy's numbers, terrain, and mood before the battle meant fewer Mongol lives lost and faster victories. Example: imagine you're planning to raid a rival clan in Clash of Clans. You scout their base first. That's basically what Khan's spies did, except instead of a screen, they were in real life, risking arrows instead of losing a few elixir units. So what? Intelligence cuts risk. You don't charge blindly, you strike smart. Cool. Moving on. Types of spies. Genghis had three main types: local informants, people in towns reporting enemy activity; disguised agents, spies pretending to be merchants, farmers, or diplomats; and scouts, fast riders observing troop movements and terrain. Example: a scout on horseback, like your friend sprinting across the soccer field to check the other team's formation, only this scout's horse can outrun almost anything and carries a tiny message pouch. So what? Multiple spy types mean constant updates from different angles, like checking TikTok trends, Twitter news, and Reddit all at once before making a move. Okay, next. Mongols didn't just gather info, they moved it fast. Messages could travel hundreds of miles in a day. Example: think of carrier pigeons or a series of mounted riders passing messages in a relay. It's basically the Mongol version of Slack for generals. That way, Genghis could respond to a city uprising or enemy movement in hours instead of weeks. So what? Fast intel equals fast decisions equals fewer surprises. Cool, moving on. Spies didn't just inform, they intimidated. Towns would sometimes surrender simply because rumors spread that Genghis knew everything. It's like when a friend knows your embarrassing secret before you post it on social media. You panic, you comply, you change your behavior. That's psychological warfare via information. So what? A strong spy network can win battles without a fight. Okay, next. Genghis Khan didn't force people to spy, he recruited locals who wanted protection, rewards, or revenge. Sometimes, spies were even coerced with subtle threats, like freezing out non-compliant towns. Example: think of it like Fiverr, but instead of digital services, you hire someone to feed you battlefield intel. Some do it for cash, some for perks, some because they hate the local lord. So what? A diverse spy network is resilient because people have different motivations to cooperate. Cool, moving on. Genghis didn't stop at Mongol borders. He had networks inside rival empires. Merchants, travelers, and defectors became eyes and ears. Example: imagine a friend in another city streaming live updates about local events. You don't have to be there to know what's happening. Mongol spies did the same thing, but with armies, food stores, and city walls. So what? Knowledge of your enemy's territory lets you plan sieges, ambushes, and retreats perfectly. Okay, next. Sometimes Genghis used double agents. A spy pretending to work for the enemy could mislead their leaders or plant false info. Example: like that teammate who pretends to switch squads in a battle royale but secretly feeds info back to your team. So what? Deception amplifies the value of intel. It's one thing to know your enemy, another to make them act on bad info. Cool. Moving on. Scouts were the eyes of the army. They monitored enemy camps, reported terrain obstacles, and even counted numbers. Speed and observation were everything. Example: a scout is like your friend who counts how many slices of pizza are left before you grab one, except here it's archers, catapults, and cavalry. So what? Field intel prevents ambushes, reduces waste, and lets generals plan precise strikes. Okay, next. Why Khan's spy network worked. Integration. Scouts, locals, merchants, they all fed info into one system. Speed. Messages traveled faster than enemy reinforcements. Diversity. Different spies for different needs. Psychology. Fear of the unknown amplified compliance. Example, like running a multi-app notification system. You check Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, and Gmail to get a full picture before acting. So what? A well-run spy network multiplies the effectiveness of every soldier and weapon. Modern lessons. Even today, businesses, sports teams, and governments rely on spy networks, market research, competitive intelligence, or analytics. Genghis Khan just did it in a brutal analog way. Example, think of Uber analyzing competitor pricing secretly, or Apple tracking leaks about new devices. It's all the same principle. Know before you act. So what? Strategy wins when you combine information with speed and execution.